Melodious gets a bad rep for being a spreadsheet deck, but after this video, I'm sure you guys would be surprised to know that it's a lot easier and a lot more consistent than you think. So let's get into it. So Ostinato is the main reason you'll play this deck, and there's a couple of combos you can do with it. I'll show you my favorite one to begin with. So you can activate Ostinato, you want to special summon out Bacha, you want to send Refrain and Soprana from deck to grave, special summon out your Bacha in the extra monster zone. In case it gets negated, then you can go into a gravity controller. So we'll activate her effect to special summon out our Shopina. And from here, you want to activate Shopina's effect to add Refrain to your hand. Once added, you can normal summon your Refrain and activate her effect to search out Couplet. Once Couplet has been added to your hand, you can activate her effect to special summon a Melodious monster from your hand or graveyard, that is level 4 lower. So we'll special summon out the Soprano to that zone. We'll then activate the Couplet, activating her effect to search out the Concerto. Once added to your hand, you'll activate Concerto to fusion summon out your Etiole. You're going to use Shopina, Refrain, and the Couplet in scale to special summon out your Etiole. You're going to then activate the effects of your pendulum scales. I like to activate Refrain as Chain Link 1 and Couplet as Chain Link 2 since we've already used Couplet's effect. So yeah, once that's resolved, we'll put them into scale. Okay, I would then choose to fusion summon using the Soprano. So we'll make out a Schuberta using those two. In the new chain, you'll want to activate Bacha's effect as Chain Link 1 and Concerto as Chain Link 2. Bacha will target the Shopina. And then, yeah, the Concerto. This gets us a free draw. We'll special summon out the Shopina to the middle zone. From here, you want to activate Refrain's effect, targeting one of your fusion monsters. And you can send a couple of cards here. My favorite way of doing this would be to send the Sonata. We'll then activate the effect of the Shopina to add the Sonata to hand. Special summon out your Sonata to your side of the field. Link off into the Link 2 Bloom Harmonist. Activate her effect to discard the card you drew. And then you want to special summon out an Elegy and an Aria to your zone's defense position. So this gets you protection from card effects, so your monsters can't be destroyed by card effect. This says your monsters cannot be targeted or be destroyed by battle. This is an interruption that banishes 3 cards from your opponent's grave at quick speed. And this banishes your board to compulse your opponent's field. It's crazy what Ostinato can do. So there's another combo you can end on Ostinato. For a lot of you who are afraid of playing Elegy because the card is somewhat of a brick, you can completely cut it and might boost the deck's consistency at the cost of some of its power. And this is the combo you would generally go for. So you would activate Ostinato. Like before, we're going for the Bacha using Refrain and Soprano. Special summon it to your side of the field in the extra monster zone. Activate its effect. We're going to go once again for the Shopina. Summoning out Shopina in defense position. Activate Shopina's effect to add Refrain to hand. Normal summon the Refrain. I'll watch the zone placement here because it does matter with your Link 2. Because you want to have 2 zones open at all times. So we're going to add the Couplet. We're going to use Couplet's effect in the new chain to special summon back out your Soprano. This is what I mean where you want to, just in case you get negated somewhere, you want to make sure that you have 2 of these zones open. So from here we'll activate the Couplet. Use her effect to search for the Concerto. Activate the Concerto to make Etiole. The reason why we do this on the first summon is so that we can play underneath Nibiru. So now if my opponent activates Nibiru, we can activate Etiole, banishing our board, and we at least have something for the next turn. So we'll activate again Refrain Chain Link 1, and then we'll activate Couplet Chain Link 2. Scaling them, you'll activate again Soprano's effect to fusion summon out your Schuberta. The reason why I summon out the Schuberta first before using Refrain's effect is in case something happens on my opponent's side of the field, it gives me more options in terms of what I can do. So we'll then activate the Bacha's effect as Chain Link 1, targeting the Shopina, and then Chain Link 2 is Concerto to get us a free draw that we'll need for the Link 2's discard. Yes, we'll summon it to your side of the zone. You can then activate Refrain's effect, doesn't matter who you target. Again, we will send the Sonata, activate the effect to add the Sonata to hand, and then we will special summon, and then we'll go into a Bloom Harmonist. Activate an Harmonist effect, we'll discard, and now we have to choose 2 monsters to summon. Okay, when we go in this line, we will maximize the amount of interruptions we can put up, but we minimize our protection. So in this case, we'll go 1, 2. We can activate the effect of the Soprano in the new chain to add one of these to hand. I think in the situation we'll add the Sonata back to hand. We'll then activate the effect of Fusion Summon. We'll use to make out a second Schuberta. So like I was saying, this board sacrifices the protection, but what it does get you is 2 grave interruptions plus a field bar. Depends on what your matchup is. I generally don't go into this too much. I will show you the third way you can play Ostinato now. So the third way you can use Ostinato is the way I'm sure most of you are familiar with. Again, like before, you'll activate your Ostinato to summon out your Bacha using a Soprano and a Refrain. Activating Bacha's effect in the new chain to special summon out Shopina. Activate Shopina's effect to add the Refrain. Normal summon the Refrain. Activate her effect to search Couplet. Couplet's effect will then trigger to special summon out the Soprano from grave. Special summon that out. From here, you're going to activate Couplet. Activate Couplet's effect. We will add the Concerto to hand. Activate the Concerto, making the Etiole under Nibiru. Activate the effect of your scales in the new chain. Chain link 1, chain link 2. Activate Soprano's effect to Fusion Summon. We will make out a Schuberta. In this case, we're not going into link 2, so you can put in the extra monster zone if you want to. We'll then activate the effect of Bacha to target the Shopina, followed by the effect of Concerto and Grave to get a free draw. To our side of the field, we will then activate Refrain's effect to send Aria from our deck to the graveyard. Activate the effect of Shopina to add the Aria back to hand. And then from here, you can Pendulum Summon. I'm just going to go for 2. So yeah, this is the board most people are most familiar with. It gets you a Grave Interruption, a Compulse, and Protection. Again, you'll probably play this build if you go for this line if you aren't using the Elegy. I think it's the more safer way to go. I'm currently playing Elegy because Tempai runs my locals and I'm tired of board breakers. But yeah, you guys can adjust the deck as you feel fit. Let me show you the rest of the combos now. The deck's other 1-card combos center around either opening a first movement solo or Refrain. Since they both practically do the same thing, I'm not going to show you both, but you will see how it goes now. So the main thing is that you want to have access to Refrain. So in this case, the first movement solo will special summon out the Refrain. If you open the Refrain, you just normal summon the Refrain and do the exact same things I'm about to do now. So you'll activate then Refrain's effect to search Couplet from your deck to hand. We don't have a target for Couplet's effect at this point, so we're just going to activate it and use its effect to add Concerto to hand. Unfortunately, Drone Lockwood kind of cooks this combo, so that's just something to keep in mind. So activate Concerto to special summon out Bacha using your 2 scales. You will then activate, I think, Bacha as chain link 1, followed by your scales. It's just some way to chain block, even though the Bacha has some kind of restriction on it that prevents your opponent from negating the activated effect from Melodious fusion monsters. They can Imperm, they can effect Vela, so it doesn't really matter too much how you resolve effects, but this way it does protect you from the Ghost Ogre. Okay, so we'll then choose a monster that we need to special summon to our side of the field. We'll be going for the Shopina. For this combo, you need to activate Refrain's effect early, so you'll be targeting Bacha. We'll send the Aria to grave, then use the Shopina's effect to add the Aria to hand, and then from here you will you'll link into the link 2 Bloom Harmonist, activating her effect as chain link 1, discarding the Aria we added from hand. We'll then activate the effect of Bacha as chain link 2, targeting the Shopina, and then we will chain block using the Concerto. Our two targets that we want to special summon are 1 Soprano and 1 Couplet. In the new chain, you want to activate Soprano's effect to add the Aria back from grave to hand. And then you want to fusion summon using Soprano and your Couplet. So we're going to be making out a Schuberta. You're then going to activate your Shopina's effect to add the Soprano from grave to hand. Before pendulum summoning 2. We can go 3 actually. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Okay, from this position we can activate Soprano's effect again. So we'll go to summon out Etiole, we'll use these 3. And again, we ended up on a Schuberta, which is a Grave Interruption, a Compulse, and Protection. Something to know about this combo, apart from it getting cooked by Droll and Lockbird, is that Nibiru does kind of eat your field. Unfortunately, like, we get to our Etiole very late in the combo, so it means that your opponent can activate Nibiru and that generally stops your turn. Still, it's a 1-card combo which makes it very consistent, and it means you're more likely to have this combo than your opponent has Nibiru. Anyway, let me show you some of the other combos you can go about this deck. While first movement solo by itself can't play around Nibiru, if you open a first movement solo plus a refrain, you technically can. So you'll be starting off by activating your first movement solo, and we're gonna special summon out Soprano from our deck. Then you'll normal summon your refrain, activating her effect to add Couplet to your hand. So again, we don't have a target for Couplet, but that's fine. We'll activate Couplet, using her effect to search out the Concerto. You'll activate the Concerto to special summon out Bacha, using your 2 Pendulum monsters. In the new chain, you can protect against Ghost Ogre by activating Bacha as Chain Link 1, and then using your scales as Chain Link 2 and Chain Link 3 respectively. Again, you want to block the Aria just in case. Special summon out Shopina. From here, you'll activate Refrain's effect, targeting the Bacha, and you will send Aria from your deck to the graveyard. You'll then activate Shopina's effect to add the Aria to hand. You'll then activate Soprano's effect to fusion summon Etiole using the 3 monsters on your side of the field. We can then activate Bacha's effect from the graveyard to special summon back out the Shopina, as well as the effect of Concerto to chain block and to get a free draw. Yeah, that would have been great to open with, but no, we didn't have Ostinato this time. We'll activate Shopina's effect to add Soprano to hand. From this position, you want to pendulum summon 2, the Aria and the Soprano. And then we can activate the effect of the Soprano in this case, just to put the Bacha back into the extra deck if we need it. Might as well, it's just free. We'll then activate the Soprano's effect to special summon out Schuberta. So this is more or less the same board you ended up on, but you do get to play around Nibiru. So again, read what your opponent has, it might come in handy. In corner situations, this deck is able to go full combo if you have any Melodious monster that can be normal summoned, plus either a Sonata or Canon, which serves as a free special summon, and a card to discard. So think of it as a pseudo 2-card combo. So we'll start off by normal summoning the Melodious in our hand. In this case, it just so happens that we do a Refrain, but let's just say it isn't. We'll then special summon out the Sonata. We'll then link straight into the Link 2, using our 2 monsters. Activating the Link 2's effect, we will discard the Ostinato, and we will special summon out 2. In this case, we're going to go for the Shopina as our bigger level, and the Refrain from deck as the little level. In the new chain, you want to activate Refrain to search out the Couplet from your deck. Couplet effects when activate, and this can be used to special summon out the extender you had. Of course, it depends on your normal summon, but in this case, we're just saying that the normal summon is a blank card, so we'll special summon out the Sonata from the grave. You'll then activate Couplet, using Couplet's effect to search for the Concerto. Activating Concerto to make a Bacha, using the Refrain and the Couplet. Bacha's effect as Chain Link 1, and your scales as Chainlink 2, Chainlink 3. Okay, we want to special summon out a Shopina in this case. And then you're going to activate Refrain's effect, targeting your Bacha, sending an Aria from the deck to the graveyard. We'll then activate the effect of Shopina to add the Aria from grave to hand, then use the Soprana's effect to fusion summon out Etiole using Bacha and Shopina. In the new chain, you'll activate Bacha's effect as Chainlink 1 and Concerto as Chainlink 2. Again, we're going to special summon out Shopina as our usual target, and then Concertos for chain block and get the free draw. Okay. We're then going to activate her effect to add the Soprano from grave to hand. And then, like before, we can pendulum summon. So we're going to go 1 Soprano, 2 Aria. We can activate the effect of the Soprano in the new chain. Again, we're just going to reset the Bacha. Not too much of an advantage, but might as well. Again, it's free. And then you'll activate the Soprano's effect to fusion summon. In this case, I would probably use the Sonata to make the Schuberta. In case the Shopina sticks to the field, we have more follow-up for next turn. To perform the deck's best combo, you'll need Ostinato and an extender, so either Sonata or Canon. So you're going to start off by activating Ostinato to summon up Bacha. Again, your normal targets are the Refrain and the Soprano. You'll activate Bacha's effect in the new chain, targeting Shopina from deck. Did I just pass it? Yeah, there we go. Shopina. In the new chain, you're going to activate, well, start a new chain by activating Shopina's effect to target Refrain. Normal summon out your Refrain to your side of the field, activating her effect again to search out the Couplet. Couplet's effect is going to trigger to special summon out the Soprano from grave to a free zone. Again, you don't want to block your corner zones because you want to keep space in case you need to go into the link 2. Activate Couplet's effect. Activate Couplet's effect to search for Concerto. Activating Concerto to make an Etiole. Your normal 3 targets. Activate the effect of your scales, Chainlink 1 and Chainlink 2. Activate the effect of the Soprano to fusion summon. So in this case, we're making a Schuberta. Keep your extra monster zones open because you will need them. Activate Bacha's effect from the graveyard, targeting out Shopina. And then activate the effect of Concerto to get a free draw. Special summon that to outside of the field. We'll then activate Refrain's effect to send Aria from deck to graveyard. Activate the effect of Shopina to add the Aria back to hand. We'll then special summon out Sonata to outside of the field. Link summon into the link 2 using our 2 monsters. We'll then activate the effect of Harmonist to discard the Aria to special summon out a Soprano and an Elegy. We'll activate the effect of the Soprano in the new chain to add the Aria back to hand, so we get to keep our draw this time. And then we can activate the effect of the Soprano to fusion summon out a second Schuberta using itself and our link 2. And then finally we will pendulum summon out Aria. So again, we have full protection. We have protection from card destruction, protection from targeting and from battle, 2 graveyard interruptions, and a compulse. I don't think your opponent's cracking this board. So as you guys may have guessed, this deck fusion summons a lot. So what happens if your opponent activates a dimension barrier against you, and what can you do? Well, if your opponent shotguns the dimension barrier before you commit to a summon, your play will be to normal summon out Refrain, activate her effect to search for Canon from your deck. Mind my dog in the background, she's a bit busy today. We'll search for Canon, that's exactly why we play Canon, and then we will special summon out Canon to outside of the field, and then overlay into a Bagooska. Not the most exciting play, but sometimes you gotta fight a turn ender with the turn ender. let me show you what you can do if your opponent activates the D barrier on the Refrain summon. So what happens if your opponent's a good player and they know when exactly to play the D barrier? Well, this is how things would play out. You'd normal summon out your Refrain, you'd activate her effect to search for your Couplet as you normally would. In this case we have an extender, so there's no point activating the Couplet effect. We would then activate Couplet's effect, and we would search for Concerto. I'm gonna set the Concerto, but you would actually activate the Concerto, and what would happen is your opponent would then activate D barrier, which kind of makes your Concerto fizzle. You're not gonna get the effect, right? So from here, you will then have to go to plan B, which would be to special summon out your extender, and then overlay into Bloom Harmonist. You'll then use Harmonist effect to discard the other card you may have had in your hand, and you'll be special summoning out an Elegy and an Aria. This feels a lot like Sphere's Pass. It is not a good board, but it does have enough protection that sometimes, or maybe to a lot of times, you'll be able to get to your next turn to where you'll be able to start doing things. Both of these combos work under D Fissure and D Shifter 2. It's just, unfortunately, they're not very great, but okay, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes, hey. So anyway, those are your Melodious combos. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe if you haven't. I'll check you guys in the next.